Now, the Dublin Smartphone Film Festival is a brand new international festival dedicated to celebrating the work shot on smartphone and tablets. This is going to be held in Smithfield this Saturday. So to find out a bit more about it, we're joined now by Robert Fitzhugh, who's the organiser of the Dublin Smartphone Film Festival, as well as filmmakers Cathy Raftery and Chris Higgins, who both have films entered in it. Nice to meet you all. Just talking there before we came on about the proliferation of smartphones. We get a huge amount of entries to our camera club on smartphones, and the quality of them, you know, as opposed to the traditional cameras and really expensive pieces of kit, is really, really excellent. Just thinking about it, every time we switch on YouTube or Facebook and look at the clips that are posted there, we're looking at little mini movies, by and large made on smartphones or devices, Robert.
Absolutely, and that was kind of the idea behind it. Originally was that content creation is so easy, and you're kind of watching it all the time and you're consuming it all the time. And one thing that people always say is that everyone has a good book in them or a good film in them. And I found that kind of, me personally as a filmmaker, shooting on my phone, it kind of demystified the whole process, and it kind of broke down the barriers to be able to kind of just, you know, before you'd be like, I'm a little uncomfortable, I don't know how to use a camera maybe. And now you're just like, I have a phone, I use it every day, grab it, go. I can do it all on my phone. I can write, I can edit, I can shoot, and it just simplifies the process and kind of gets you through the technical hurdles, so you can just get down to kind of telling the story you want to tell.
Our kids are doing it as if it's second nature to them.
Absolutely, yeah. It's also a lot to do with the exposure that kind of kids have too, what you're saying about YouTube. And a big one was Vine before it was gone, was that Vine kind of really broke down editing for people, made it simple. So younger people are so comfortable using their phones to tell their stories that it seems like a no-brainer that you would kind of port that into a format where you could make short films and tell larger stories. Let's
talk to two of the people who've entered it, and you got entries from 25 different countries?
It was 65 entries from 25 different countries.
25%. Yeah. Now, Cathy Raftery, you are a professional filmmaker. You're a camera woman.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so therefore you would think you would possibly have some snobbery about all the really expensive kit.
Yeah, no, for me, why it worked out so well, I was actually travelled to Spain to film my documentary, and instead of having to bring my heavier camera, my heavy tripod, it was just handy to try out filming on my iPhone. I used the Filmic Pro video app, so I just had a lighter tripod, monopod. It was just, I didn't have to carry such heavy gear and equipment with me. And my documentary was about a Spanish artist, Vanessa Donoso Lopez. So it's just about her work process. She was working on a project in Spain, so I filmed her over a few days on the iPhone. So it was quite discreet to follow her around filming while she worked. I didn't get in the way, and the local people didn't notice too much that I didn't cause too much disruption in the area. So, and the quality of it, I'm really happy with, and it's great to have this festival to enter into
as a showcase. Obviously, you didn't. We're just showing some. Now, this is hard to believe, right? This, if somebody said to me there was, you know, a 4, 5, 6 man film crew behind that, I couldn't dispute it because it looks like a professional job.
Yeah, no, it's great, the quality you can get now from your
You didn't find as a professional that you were limited by just this one piece of kit?
No, it took me a while to get used of using the Filmic Pro app, but it's a great app once you get used to all the shortcuts and everything. And I filmed outdoors, so it worked well just in the light and everything. I had no problems at all.
Actually, I was just wondering, does this free up your imagination? Sometimes all of the kit and the gear get in the way, and that if you don't have it, then you've got to invent ways or create ways to get what you want.
And especially for documentary filmmaking, it's just handy because you have your phone with you most of the time as well. So, you know, you can catch stuff.
Your ability to catch the moment and do it on the fly.
Yeah, it works well.
Chris, you're coming from the other side of it, is that you're a student, and apparently you just made it into the competition by the skin of your teeth. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
What's the story?
It was actually over the course of 3 weeks from when we decided to try and enter to when we actually submitted it. And
what are you studying, by the way?
Film production.
Okay, right. And were you doing a project?
No, we just decided to go for it and give it a shot. And I remember actually emailing Rob to see if we could get it in by midnight on the final day. It was that close, really. Yeah.
That close?
Yeah.
So you had 3 weeks to come up with an idea, a script, and decide what you wanted to do. So. That sounds like guerrilla filmmaking of the highest order.
For sure, yeah. I think there's just no excuse when it's so easy to shoot on phones now.
Oh, okay, you can shoot loads and loads and loads of footage, but you've got to knock it into a story. It's got to have something that will engage an audience. So what was the spark? Did you have one, or did you go, well, we'll try and see what happens?
Yeah, again, I think sheer practicality in a lot of ways to try and find a way to tell a simple story in a short amount of time in a simple way that's effective.
And just using this, I suppose in some senses almost primitive technology, did that free up, or did it make it easier for you to do it?
It depends. I mean, in some ways you can just go out and shoot. Like we actually picked up more footage after because we could just go back and, shoot it on our phones. There wasn't the hassle of getting equipment or anything like that.
And what about story and narrative and story arc and all of that sort of stuff? There's a whole industry involved in just getting that part of it, and sometimes that goes on before a camera even rolls. So, how do you go about that sort of the creative process of the story? And then, the camera is basically technically telling the story. But if you don't have a decent story in the first place, you don't have a movie, do you?
No. Well, again, it's coming up with a story. It's difficult. It's trying to get a simple story. We made the decision to only go with 2 actors for it. That would essentially just be a 2-hander, and how we could build tension just with 2 actors going back and forth.
Well, you obviously did it very successfully because you've made it in. Robert, you've got there's a grand jury prize. There's the best 360 VR film. These are the categories: best Irish film, best animation, best fiction, best music video, and best documentary. So, depending on what type of filmmaker you want to be, there's loads of showcases. And
you can really you covered a broad range of everything, and I kind of structured the event as well. So rather than kind of put it together to say you're watching just documentaries and this section you're watching just fiction, I structured it so that it would be for each section, there's 5 sections in total. When you sit down, you're getting a full range of what you can see. So it might start with a music video and then move into a comedy, and then it'll go into a documentary and then back into a music video. Sort of almost like a CD playlist, because I wanted you to be able to sit there and say, this is what people are doing across the world with their phones right now. Here's a broad range of it.
It's taking place now. Obviously, entries are closed. You've got your finalists, and the winners will be announced on the day, which is Saturday, the 27th. Is taking place in the Generator Hostel in Smithfield. This is your first year,
Absolutely.
and I'm assuming because it's your first year, you probably had to do it on the smell of an oil rag. You did little or no money, no sponsorship.
Very little money. I did it all. I did it pretty much all on my own, marketing, everything. Built a website, did everything on my own. But in terms of sponsorship, no, that was a little bit harder because you're trying to make a name for yourself. The response I got from manufacturers and prizes was phenomenal. I mean, Manfrotto were very, very interested. Manfrotto Ireland. I had companies like Grip Gear, companies like Helium. They all came on board because there's companies out there making equipment for filmmakers.
Yeah, but you want the Arts Council and you want the Film Board and people like that to look at that and know that you've done it and you've shown that it can be done, and you've pretty much done it on your own. You have your showcase, and I'm expecting next year, year 2 is going to be even bigger. People who are interested, where would they go to find out more about it so they can submit for next year? So you can go to www.dublinsmartphonefilmfestival.com, which is a mouthful when I was coming up with that title, or just dubsmartff.com, and you can find that across all social media platforms and the website. All right, we'll put it up on the Facebook page. We want to wish you all the very best with them. By the way, can people trot along to the Generator?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
From 2 to 7, you can just come along and pop in.
And have a look at the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations to all of you.
Thanks very much.
And we hope when you're grabbing that Oscar, you remember you got your first television with us, because we'll be calling, trust me. After the break, we will be taking a look at 3 more stylish shapewear pieces to transform your look in any outfit.